The movie starts with Dylan giving inputs on the website his team has just worked on, but gets a phone call in the middle of it where we meet Jamie, who looks like they're on a call with each other. But later we find out that they're talking to their significant others. Once they meet up with their dates, they get dumped and told that they have too many issues to be with. They both walk away from their breakups, vowing to take a break from the dating scene for a while. Next, we see Dylan on a flight to New York while Jamie is getting dressed in her car to pick somebody up for her job as a headhunter. Jamie gets to the airport and has her sign blown by the wind. Jamie tries to catch on the baggage conveyor where Dylan gets to it first, and so the two meet. During their drive, Jamie tries to sell Dylan on the idea of working for GQ, but Dylan is inviting. They get to the GQ office where Jamie tells Dylan she'll wait on him until he finishes with his interview. It's nighttime when Dylan finishes and he heads out to find Jamie sticking true to her word. Jamie sends Dylan Jack's offer, saying that the offer expires at midnight. Dylan is still not sure of moving to New York for the job. Jamie says that she wouldn't either, but for New York, she would. Jamie then decides to sell Dylan on the allure of New York and gives him a realistic tour of the city. During the tour, Dylan gets to meet Shaun White and goes to the top of a high-rise building illegally, where they talk about Dylan's family life. Jamie then takes Dylan to Times Square to witness and be a part of a flash mob. Dawn enjoys it and tells Jamie that he's sold and he'll take the job. Dylan makes his move to New York and has his first day working at GQ. There we meet Tommy, the company's sports editor, who welcomes him the most. Jamie comes to Dylan's office to have him sign the contract. After signing, Dylan asks Jamie if she knows a place he can get some lunch. Jamie trolls Dylan, asking if it's a date, making Dylan self-conscious. Jamie cuts the bid and tells him it's her treat. At launch, they get to talk about their exes and how they've both been told that they're damaged goods emotionally. Jamie then invites Dylan to a party she's having and tells him that he should come to meet some people at the party. The two get a bit closer and start to grow a bond as the days pass. The two have movie night, and Jamie starts showing her hopeless romantic side and starts mouthing every line of the movie they're watching. The two then get to talking about how getting together sexually should be just that and not come with emotional and romantic implications like playing tennis. Dylan shoots a shot and tells Jamie that maybe they should play tennis. Jamie thinks he's crazy at first, but Dylan calls her bluff, saying that he knows she's attracted to him, at least physically. Jamie thinks the same, and they start to list down things they find out about each other. The two make a pact to keep things strictly physical and not cross the inevitable line of being in a relationship. And they get to it, laying down their preferences as they go with Dylan, getting first-hand tutoring on his teaching skills. The next day, Jamie comes to visit Dylan at work, where they talk about what happened last night. They both agree that it was a mistake and agree to stop. And then for a straight 6 minutes, they do the complete opposite, playing tennis every chance they can get during one of their friendship sessions. Jamie's mom, Lorna, walks in on them. The two get dressed as Lorna mentions that Jamie hasn't introduced her to her new boyfriend, to which they deny and say that it's a friendly thing they've got going on. Dylan gets to talking with Tommy and mentions the setup that they have. Tommy says that they're headed for disaster, saying that Curtis always complicates things. That night, Lorna mentions to Jamie how she didn't expect for her to be in that kind of setup. Lorna then invites Jamie to a trip for the 4th of July to make up for the times that she hasn't been the best mom. Jamie humbly accepts. After another session, the two mutually decide to bookend their setup, saying they're both ready for something serious and applaud themselves for getting through it without any BS. The two head to a park where each of them try to point to a stranger that they might like. Jamie fails in finding Dylan a catch, but Dylan finds the perfect one for Jamie. Jamie approaches the guy named Parker and scores a date with him. Cue the montage of dates that seem like Parker and Jamie are the perfect match. On one of them, Jamie mentions that she has a 5-date rule before he lets the guy hit the home run. Parker says it's fine by saying that she's worth the wait. Dylan, on the other hand, decides that he should start mingling as well, seeing that Jamie is totally hitting it off with Parker. Jamie and Parker get to their 5th date, and as promised, Jamie lets Parker shoot his shot. Meanwhile, Dylan isn't so lucky with his lady in the middle of his session. He gets a call from his sister Annie, asking if he'll be coming home for the 4th of July, to which she confirms the next day after her night of fun. Jamie takes a call from Dylan outside her apartment, where Jamie tells him that things with Parker are going great. And just as she's about to head back, she catches Parker sneaking out of her apartment. Parker spins the same line that Jamie's exes have given her. And needless to say, things do not end amicably. Jamie goes to Dylan's place, where Dylan is backing to tell him just what happened to her and Parker. Dylan comforts Jamie and tells her to block it out and that she should go have fun with her mother on their trip. When Jamie comes home to go on her trip with her mother, she isn't there. She has ditched Jamie yet again. Jamie sends Dylan a photo that her mother left, and Dylan decides to ask her to come with him to LA, to which she agrees. They get to LA, and Dylan introduces Jamie to Sam, his sister's son, as well as Annie, his sister. When he gets to his dad, Mr. Harper, he mistakes Jamie for another girl, revealing that he has Alzheimer's. That night, Jamie gets to talking to Annie about their dad and how Dylan was when he was young. When it's time for bed, Dylan knocks into Jamie's room, saying that he thought she gave him a signal earlier by cracking her neck. Jamie says no, and that she'd rather have some emotional support since she's just been dumped. The two spend the night getting tipsy, and when things mellow out, the two share a moment that leads exactly where you'd expect when they get done. Dylan slips out of her room with Annie catching him in the act. The next day at breakfast, Jamie starts to take care of Dylan, which makes Dylan's family members know what's up between the two at dinner. Jamie and Dylan start to tease each other, which makes them look even more like a couple. Mr. Harper then gets an episode of his illness, asking where his wife is, who had actually left him a long time ago. The next day, Jamie and Dylan hike up the Hollywood sign. Jamie takes it a step further and actually jumps the fence and gets on top of one of the letters of the sign. There, Jamie asks why Dylan never mentioned his parents to her, ever. Dylan replies by saying that he can't handle the look of pity people give him when they realize his father has an illness or what happens to his mom. Jamie tries to talk about what happened to them, and Dewey is quick to downplay it, saying it was just a casual thing that happened, which obviously destroys Jamie without him knowing. The police then come to get them off the scene. Jamie jumps off while Dewey is frozen there, saying that he's afraid of heights. In the end, Dylan has to be airlifted and gets featured on the news for everyone to see that home. Annie is trying to get Dylan to admit that he has feelings for Jamie, which he immediately shuts down and tries to walk away from the conversation. Annie pursues Dylan and keeps questioning him, not knowing that Jamie is there with them. Dylan starts listing off reasons why Jamie isn't his type, seeing all the things Jamie's exes have told her before. Jamie hears all of this and makes an excuse to leave that night. The whole family tries to get her to stay, but she's obviously in her feelings and chooses to leave. Back in New York, Jamie is giving Dylan the silent treatment, and Jamie welcomes back her mom after ditching her at work. Jamie gets a call with a client saying that they want Dylan to work for them. Meanwhile, Dylan is still trying to get a hold of Jamie, who's not picking up his calls, which is when he remembers the spot. Jamie goes to when she needs a break from her chaotic life. Dylan finds Jamie on the roof of the building, where Jamie makes it known that she heard Dylan's conversation with Andy. The two argue because Dylan still doesn't get the fact that Jamie doesn't see him as just a friend anymore. The next day, Jamie gets a call from her boss saying that the client she spoke to about Dylan directly contacted Dylan to get him on board. Jamie goes to find Dylan, who's at a photo shoot when Jamie gets there and confronts Dylan. He gets petty, throwing back at Jamie all the things she said when they were on the roof that night. Dylan hashes out the details on what time he has to pick up their dad with Annie, while Jamie's mom tries to get Jamie out of the stereotypical fairy tale she has in her head because it's not meant for her. Dylan picks up his dad from the airport, who says he's starving when they meet. Dylan tries to find him a seat at a restaurant, only to come back to his dad, who is having another one of his episodes and takes off his pants in the middle of a restaurant and find himself a seat. Dylan pauses as everybody is staring at his dad and decides to join his dad in taking off his pants too. While eating, Mr. Harper calls out to a girl, saying the name of another girl he met in the Navy. He says that she was the love of his life, but that he was too dumb to realize it then. He then gives Dylan some fatherly advice to not make the same mistake that he did, that if he ever has a person he can't live without, he shouldn't waste time and tell them right away. Dylan gets a plan together with the help of his dad and Tommy, who helps them get around the New York traffic with his boat. Dylan gets everything set up before he leaves his dad with Dave, who's there to look after him. Next, we see Jamie at Grand Central Terminal on the phone with her mom, who she's supposed to meet up with. A flash mob starts up where her mom reveals all of this as part of Dylan's plan. Dylan pours his heart out, and Jamie gets her fairy tale, ending the way she always dreamed of. There were highs and lows, laughter and tears, messy moments and heartfelt confessions. But in the end, everyone walks away with a piece of what they were searching for: love, connection, and a second chance. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more heartfelt stories. Because love, it's never simple, but it's always worth a ride.